Hello, thank you for checking out Mr. Ware's videos, and today we're looking at an EOC review for Integrated Math 1. So let's begin. Okay, take a look at the following questions and see if you can answer. Alright, the answer to this one is B. B. Notice how you got these numbers here, 44 and 45 on the y-axis. Goes up pretty high, and you don't have any room for 25, 25, and 25. You need something a little higher. Alright, see if you can get this one. Okay, the answer here is D. The time in months, and the Y is the mass in grams. So you got the independent and dependent variable. X is the independent, Y is the dependent. We need to know how many months before we can figure out the weight of the lizard. So as it grows, if you tell me what month it was, I can tell you the weight. So the weight, Y, dependent on X, I, the independent variable. Try this one. Okay, the answer here is uh, 20 and 10. Okay, we've got the constraints here. We see where they meet at, right? And if you look at this one, everything less than uh, this one here, as far as, I'm not sure which one is which between 20 and 40 here, but if we look at this one and everything below that and everything also below this one, you get this gray area. And Um, the best spot or the highest spot for that is right here where the two lines meet. Okay, so that's going to be the sweet spot, which is at 20 and 10. Okay, try this one. Make sure you select two options. Okay, you should get A and D. A, survey all the students to find out who rides the bus. That makes sense. And D, count the number of students on every third bus. Then use the average to estimate the total number of students who ride the bus in the morning. So that's a quicker, less accurate, but more accurate than the other three. Okay, try this one. Okay, the answer here is 140. If you go up 8 weeks and then you go all the way up, that's going to be 140. All right, see if you can find the answer here. Make sure that you select all three. Okay, so here's the answers. -5, 3, -8, -1, and -9, -3. All of those are in the gray area. All the rest of them are outside the gray area. This one right here is on the line, but it's also on the dash line. So if it's on the dash line, you can't count it. It's part of the solution. All right, take a look at this one and see if you can find the answer. Okay, the answer on this one is B. B. Both of these are less than. So you look at the dash line because it doesn't have an equal to, and the solid line that has an equal to. Both of them are shade below. So here, shade below this way. For the solid, it's shade below this way. For the dash, the overlap is here, but they both shade down because they both less than. Okay, try this one. Okay, the answer here is A, B, and C. Let's talk about B, and I'm going to come back to A. But B, because you graph each linear equation and show that the intersection of the lines is -2 and -5. You just take each one and graph them, and where they cross is the solution. Okay. Another way is to do substitution method. We're going to take this y equal 2x minus 1 and plug it in for y right here. And that's what it shows here. -12 x plus 3 times 2x minus 1 is y equal 9. And first you solve for x, then you come back and find y. Okay. Now this one, it's got this expression here, 3 plus 4x. It's like, where does that come from? Well, take a look at this -12x plus 3y equal 9. If you solve for y, you end up with 4x plus 3 or 3 plus 4x. So solving for y reduces this down. Now that y is equal to this and y is also equal to 2x minus 1, you can set them equal to each other. So that's what they did. 3 plus 4x is equal to 2x minus 1. Set them equal to each other, solve for x, plug it back in, find the y. Okay, try this one. See if you can find the one that's not a function. Okay, the answer here is C. So you got this line that comes across, and it's a vertical line test. It hits in more than one spot. So a vertical line test could prove that something's not a function. But really what it's doing is saying that the x can only have one y. This x, -4, we got multiple different y's. Every input has to have only one output for it to be a function. Okay, this input has more than that, so it's not a function. All right, so before we go to the next problem, I want to go over a couple of formulas that we've talked about in the past. We got arithmetic sequence and geometric sequence. Over here, let's do the arithmetic side here. We've got a this notation, a of n is equal to a of 1, right? So this is whatever number term you're looking for. This is the first term. This n minus 1 is taking whatever term and going back 1. And then you're going to multiply it by the common difference. Okay. Now this is the explicit formula. This is the recursive formula, meaning it reoccurs. You go take the previous term and add it with the common difference. Okay. Now the geometric sequence is the same thing, except instead of adding, you're multiplying. Okay. So I know we got multiplying here because you're adding multiple times. Here it's just you're multiplying multiple times. You're going to raise it to an exponent. Okay, and that's the explicit. The recursive is the first term times the common ratio, or the previous term times the common ratio. Okay, now this is what it looks like on the EOC formula sheet. The notation that we use in the book was f of 1, but it's exactly the same thing. So instead of having a sub notation in these letters here, you just got f of n, but it's the exact same thing. So take a moment to write this down, and because you're going to need this for the next part. Okay, see if you can find out which one of these formulas is okay. There's two of them, and but first thing you want to do is figure out what type of sequence it is, so you know what kind of formula to use. So figure out the sequence and pick two formulas that are correct. All right, the answer is going to be B and F. B and F. And I'm going to start with F first. Uh, F, first of all, it's a geometric sequence. We're multiplying by 2 each time. Okay. And this is just plugging in the geometric sequence as is in the explicit form. We got the first term, 12. We got the common ratio, which is 2. And we raise it to the n minus 1. Okay, now B is a little tricky here. Normally when you use the formula, you use f of 1. It's the first term. But if you go back 1 and have a 0 term, that would be 6. 6 times 2 is 12. So they use that number, and they still multiply by 2. Now, in A, they use 12 as the first term, but they are they adding instead of multiplying. They thinking that it's 12 and that you're adding 12 each time. That's just wrong. That's the arithmetic. Here's geometric. We're multiplying, and instead of using f of 1 is 12, which would have worked, they use f of 0 is equal to 6. Just went back 1, and that's it. It's the same thing. All right, take a moment to see if you can solve this one. Okay, the answer here is C. The function grows more rapidly as x increases. So as x goes up, -5, -4, -3, -2, it grows. It starts off slow, but then it grows really fast. It's B. Oh, sorry, C. All right, try this one. All right, the answer here is C and E. Select all to apply. So there's more than one here, okay? So here, C says each year the increase is valued by 15%. You might be like, where did 15% come from? Well, the 15% comes from the original formula. So we got 15% here. And if I plug it into this formula and use their notation, V of t, we will put the initial amount, which is 12,000, and we will put 15% after converting it into a decimal, 0.15, and adding it with 1, and we get 1.15. What they want you to do is go in reverse and realize that it's 15%. So keep that in mind. And this is a growth. Now, if it was minus, you would get a number smaller than 1, but greater than 0. And be aware of what happens with the percentage on that as well. Now, E is true because 12,000 is the initial value. That's where they get that number from. All right, see if you can get this one. All right, the answer here is D. D. So here you can use process of elimination for a little bit of it. Uh, if you take a look at this, notice how they all say car A, car A, car A, car A. But here it says car A has a higher initial purchase. And this one says car A has a higher initial purchase. But B and C says car A has a lower initial purchase. A, lower initial purchase. So which one has the higher and which one has the lower? Car A starts off for 18,000. Car B starts off for 16,000. So A has the higher. So it's got to be either A or D. So what's the difference between A and D? Well, in A, they say the value of the car A decreases by a greater percentage each year than B. And here it says car B decreases by a greater percentage each year than does the value of car A. So which one is right? Well, the percentage or the actual rate, and I'm not going to say percentage, I'm going to say rate that it decreases here is 0.81, okay? Because that's what we multiply times 1,800 or whatever's left over each time, okay? Here, to find that number, all I did is take the first term and divide it by term 0. So got 13, 1,600 and divided by 1,600, because if I'm multiplying by the same amount each time, dividing is how you find that. So the rate on this one is 0.85, and 0.85 is bigger than 0.81, so it's D. All right, see if you can get this one. All right, the answer here is alternate interior angles, 4 and 5. Okay, got the inside here, and they go across the transversal, alternate interior angles. All right, see if you can find the answer here. All right, the answer here is B. We're adding 6. And I just happened to pick this point. You could put either point on here, but I added 6, came over to the right 6 because that's the X, right? X plus 6 goes to the right, and then I went down 3, negative 3. So that's B. All right, see if you can find the answer here. All right, the answer is X is equal to 3. So if this flips onto itself, it's got to flip over this line here. And that line is X is equal to 3. And the reason it's X is equal to 3 is because every point on this line will have to have 3 as the X. So this would be 3, 0, this would be 3, 1, this would be 3, 2, this would be 3, -1, 3, -2 as you go down. But X is always 3, so 3 is equal, X is equal to 3. That's that line. All right, see if you can find the answer here. Okay, so they only gave you one measurement for one of the angles, but since the lines are parallel, you know all of them. So this one's the obtuse angle, is 128, and the vertical angle right across from it is 128. The alternate interior angle away from that is going to be 128, and then the vertical angle across from that is 128. All the obtuse angles are the same. So to find the acute angle, just do 180 minus 52. You get 128, and 128 it well, I shouldn't did 52. Messed that up. 180 minus 128 will get you 52, right? So now you know that the angle is 52, 52, 52, and 52, right? So now once you realize that, all you got to do is figure out which ones are right, which ones are wrong. So it's going to be A, C, D, and F. All right, take a moment and see if you can find the answer here. All right, the answer here is A, B, and C. Okay, don't forget to read. Select all that apply. Okay, it's A, B, and C. Okay, so if we rotate 180, it will go this way. If you reflect over the x-axis and then let's see, reflect over the y-axis to go from 1 to 2, you flip this way, and then you flip again. Oh, said that wrong. You flip down here over the x-axis, and then flip again over the y-axis, and it'll be right here. The next one, so the reflection over the y-axis, flip here, go from left to right here, and then translate 6 units down, and that would slide it right in here. All three of these work, but this one only works if you're going from 2 to 1. If you slide over 6 and go up 1, slide over 6 and then up 6 from 2 to 1, that works. But it says from 1 to 2. So that would mean you would slide right 6 and then up 6, and that wouldn't even be over the graph. So D does not work. Try this one. cost per mile traveled. So we got y is equal to mx plus b here. Y is equal to the slope 2, which is the change, plus 4. So the initial fee is $4, and then it's $2 for every mile. So that's what that represents. All right, try this one. Okay, so here, first of all, we got a y equals mx plus b again. We got 1.5x plus 1.8. Okay, the 1.5 is positive. We're really adding 1.5 to 5.8 so many times, but you're adding and it's going up because it's positive. So that is increasing. Okay. Now keep in mind that we're talking about the value in thousands, and that the 5.8 is really 5,800, and that's what it started out to be. And then we're adding 1,500 every year. That is okay. So um, this is the answer. Try this one. Okay, the answer here is 4150. 4150. So you can set up the equation with the big number on the left or on the right here. But I start off with $100 down. I'm doing 6 payments. I don't know how much they are, but there's 6 of them. And all together it has to add up to equal 349. So then I subtract 100 on both sides, bring down I get 249, bring down the 6x, divide by 6, 4150. Okay, see if you can solve this equation. Okay, you should get 2. I'm going to combine like terms. 3 and 2 is 5. Bring down the 3, bring down the 13. Do the opposite. Instead of adding, subtract, subtract. 13 minus 3 is 10. Do the opposite of multiplication, division, divide, divide, and p is equal to 2. All right, solve for b in terms of AC and F. So you want to set this up so you have b is equal to everything else. Okay, so since we're solving for b, we got to do the opposite. So if I knew what b was, I'll be adding it with c and then dividing by f. We're going to do the opposite in reverse. So instead of adding and dividing, I'm going to multiply and subtract. So I'm going to multiply by f on both sides. I get f times a, which is fa, equal to b plus c. Just bring this cancels out. The f's cancel out. Bring down the b plus c. And I want to find b. So instead of adding c, I subtract c on both sides. So I get f times a, which is fa, minus c. Bring down the b. And that's my answer. You could also have it as b is equal to af minus c, b is equal to negative c plus af, and b is equal to negative c plus fa. All right, see if you can get the answer here. All right, you should get v is greater than 12. Greater than 12, okay? You got to distribute the negative 2. You get negative 2v, positive 20. Subtract the 20 on both sides. bring down the negative 2V, you get negative 24 on the right. Dividing by negative 2, don't forget to swap the inequality around, and V is greater than 12. All right, see if you can solve this one. All right, you should get x is equal to 4. First, I'm going to distribute 2x plus 8 plus 15. Collect the like terms. Got positive 23. All right, I like to move my letters to the left, so I add 2x on both sides. 4 plus 2 is 6x minus 1 is equal to 23. I'm going to add 1 on both sides. 23 plus 1, 6x divided by 6. 24 divided by 6, you get x is equal to 4. All right, solve the equation below. See if you can find, oh, I'm sorry, we just did this one. N is equal to 4. All right, solve the inequality below. All right, you should get Q is less than or equal to 14. This was pretty long, but we're going to distribute. 28Q, negative 44. On the right side, we're going to collect like terms, 20Q and 4Q, 24Q. I like to move my letters to the left, subtract 24 on both sides. I get 4Q. Add 44 on both sides. I get 56. Divide by 4. And Q is less than or equal to 14. All right. See if you can answer this question. Okay, so y is equal to 30,000 times 1 minus 0.19. So the reason I wrote this is because this is what it was before they plugged in the 19%. So the answer is 19%. So I talked about this earlier. So if you plug in 19% in here, you got to convert it to a decimal. And then since it's decreasing, you're subtracting by 1. How do I know it's decreasing? Because this number is less than 1. So it had to be subtracted. So what number was subtracted here? So to find that, I do 1 minus 0.81. I get 0.19. Convert it back to a percentage, 19%. All right, so this question right here is talk about correlation and causation. Let me go over what both of those things mean, and then I'm gonna let you see if you can solve it. Okay, correlation means that two variables are moving in a similar way. Okay, as one goes up, the other goes up, or as one goes up, the other goes down at the same rate, speed, similar, close to each other, right? Um, Now, just because you have a correlation doesn't mean you have a causation. So, what is causation? Causation means uh, this changed because of something else. So, this caused this to happen. So, here they want you to determine that is this a correlation, and if it is or isn't, and is it a causation? All right. The answer is A. There is a correlation between the two variables, but not a causation. So as the ice cream goes up, the number of air conditioners being sold goes up. So as ice cream sales go up, air conditioner sales go up, right? All right. Now, is the number of air conditioning going up because of the ice cream cones being sold? No. But is it possible both are going up because it's getting hotter? Yes. So just because there's a correlation doesn't mean there's a causation. All right, see if you can find the answer here. Okay, so on this linear regression is what it's called. But if you have this line, the drawn line of best fit, but just treat this like any other line. It has a so to find the answer, we're gonna treat it just like any linear line here. Okay, so I'm gonna go down 5, and I'm gonna go over 2, and that's my slope. So I go down 5 and over 2, and that's negative 5 over 2. And when you divide that, you get negative 2.5. Okay. And to find the y-intercept, well, is where it crosses the y-axis at, right here at 25. Okay, see if you can get the answer here. Okay, so the answer here is A and B. Okay. Um, all right, so there is a linear correlation between two variables as data points will fit closely along a line of best fit. So you can see that you can see a line of best fit here, and it's kind of close. All right, so that's true. Uh, there's a positive correlation between the two variables. So that means does it go up? So as the x gets higher, does the y go up or does it go down? And the answer is it goes up. So there's a positive correlation. And that's it. That is my last question. I want to thank you for checking out Mr. Ware's videos. Have a nice day.